Hello everyone, so as I've mentioned in a few previous videos, I have been buying some new parts for my computer, some new hardware components, and basically I've gone for a new graphics card because I got a new monitor which was not really compatible with the old one. It had the wrong input basically, so I've had to go for a newer one. Also I've gone for a new CPU cooler because the old one was a bit noisy, as some of you did notice in the videos. It does pick up in the videos in the background because it is just the basic Intel one, which is standard and free, I think, with any CPU. And I've also gone for 4 new sticks of RAM, 4 RAM modules. These being 8GB each, which will make a total of 32GB, so it should be a big improvement. So in this video, I'm basically going to be showing you each component and the fitting of each component to the best of my ability. But first of all, we're going to show you exactly what I've bought. So first of all, the RAM modules, there's 4 of these, they're all exactly the same. These are crucial, the company is crucial. To be honest, the actual model number, I'm not too sure of, because they've stuck a sticker over them all, but that is irrelevant really, because basically, they're budget modules, they're 8GB each, which will make a total of 32, and they are, well, they're not cheap, they're still not cheap, they were over £100 still. But they're fairly basic looking. There's nothing fancy about them looking at them. Actually, my old ones, which are in there at the moment, behind, I'm just about to see them, I think, up here. They are Corsair, and they're fairly posh looking RAM modules. But the thing is, you can pay more for those, but you don't really see them. So I can't really see the need in that. But anyway, yeah, some people probably do like to see what the RAM looks like inside. That is the RAM, relatively basic, so we'll move that to one side. That was the most boring thing. Next we've got the Arctic Freezer 7 Pro, and this is, like I say, just to replace the Intel one, which is really simple and basic and very noisy. This one is supposed to be much better at cooling and much quieter, so really hoping this is going to make it a drastic improvement. So I'll just run through these really quickly. The cooling compound, which is MX2, has already been applied. The fan is virtually silent and it has rubber mounts to absorb the vibration. It's got excellent cooling performance up to 150 watts. It's ultra quiet, it has efficient heat dissipation, and it also eliminates the buzzing sound via the vibration absorption system. And again, yeah, the thermal compound is already on there. There is some spec for how it's been tested and stuff, the cooling performance level. And yeah, it's award-winning, it says, so it should be pretty good. 6-year limited warranty. That sounds pretty good, yeah. So, the Intel socket which I've got is a 1155, so this will work with that, luckily. I did already check that. And it comes with a number of different mounting systems. Mine is the one which you push, and then it clips into place, so we'll do that in a minute or two. So that is the Arctic Freezer 7. Next we've got the main thing. This is the second most expensive thing after the monitor, which was £400 and something. This was £270. So yeah, I've been throwing quite a bit of money into this to upgrade my system rather than buying a new computer, because that would be a lot more. And to be honest, it'd be quite wasteful because this one is still pretty good. So yes, this is the MSI GTX 970, GeForce GTX 970 by NVIDIA, gaming 4G. And this has got 4GB of RAM built in, 3.0 PCIe, and OC edition. I'm not quite sure what that is. But yeah, this is basically the gaming series. This is I think this is actually one of the most popular ones around at the moment, especially for the price. So that's why I've gone for it. Got excellent reviews, seems pretty good. Obviously there's a lot of specs on here, but I'm not going to read them all out because to some people it might even be irrelevant, but there we go. Hopefully you can read that. And there's the features. So it should be pretty good. Looking forward to fitting this. Oh, and it is also Windows 10 ready, but I have reverted back to Windows 7 because it's a lot better in my opinion. But yeah, obviously you'll have your own opinion of that. So yes, we're going to start to fit these, and I need to put my anti-static wristband on because obviously if you get some static electricity inside you, which is possible if you're on carpet, you can actually fry these components straight away, which would be really wasteful. So we're going to get that clipped onto the case and we'll begin. So hopefully the camera angle is okay. This is the best view I can get. So yeah, there's quite a bit of cable management issues here. It's actually full. I've got a load around the back of the case as well. And to be honest, there is not really anywhere else to put them, so they're just sort of lying in there. But let's get the old RAM out first of all. It might be easier to do the graphics card first, but I sort of want to get this out of the way. So these are the old ones. They're actually really good. The Corsair XMS3 DDR3. Yeah, it's a shame to get rid of them. I'm not going to throw them away, obviously. So see if anyone wants them. But yeah, they are much better looking. It has to be said. But still, I don't really look in the computer too much, so it doesn't really bother me, but it's a bit of a shame. So that's the first one. Next one is here. Yeah, the graphics card is considerably in the way. So as you can see, the motherboard's got 4 slots, two pairs of slots, and there's the other one. Basically, we're going to fill it completely with 4 8GB ones, which we're going to do right now. Just open the first one up. This is probably when you work out that you've bought the wrong ones, but I did check. Again, yeah, I think that is the model number there, I think. But yeah, we'll start to install these. There's the first one. Got to make sure these clips are fully open. So there we go, all 4 RAM modules are now installed. The next thing I think is to take the graphics card out, and then I'll do the CPU cooler, because then we'll have more space. So that is going to be 2 screws, don't know if you can see actually. Yeah, 2 screws down here. The screwdriver might not be the best one to be using. And I can't really see what I'm doing, so I'm looking over the camera. Basically doing it through the viewfinder. Right, and then I think it's the PCIe cable has to come out, and then I think there should be a clip which sort of pushes down just here. That should release it here. There we go. And then if we just zoom out a bit, there is, well, I'm not going to call it the old one because I only bought this last year, but that is my previous graphics card. Yeah, it's got the HDMI port, but it doesn't have the correct one. It needs a DP port for my new monitor, which is where the problem is. You might be able to get a converter, but then I might as well just get a new graphics card, because I need a new graphics card anyway, really, because it's a bit low spec. So next we have got the CPU cooler. It's been a while since I've fitted this. I think it was 2014, possibly 13. That's when I first did it. So you twist them and it should release itself. It should do. There we go. And there's the old one. So yeah, they're quite noisy things. They're efficient, but they're a bit noisy. And yes, that CPU is probably going to need to be cleaned off first before we install the new heatsink. So I'll go and get a lint-free cloth and get that cleaned off. Right, that is looking much cleaner. It's an Intel Core i5 3570K, and it says 3.4 gigahertz, but I'm pretty sure it's 3.8. Currently, so not sure about that. Anyway, let's get the new heatsink unboxed and install. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is that frustrating packaging. I think it probably is actually. It is. 1 second. Okay, so we've got that opened up. So we've got various different fixing hardware here. that is for the Intel, which is what my one is. I'm guessing they've included some for AMD as well, I would have thought. Move that out of here. Yeah, you get a lot of packaging. Got some instructions, and yeah, this one basically, it doesn't sit like this. That's what the old one sat like. It sits like this, which is actually better, I think, in a way, because you've got more airflow behind. When it's sat like that, you can't really suck the air up from underneath so much because the motherboard's there. So yes, this should be much better. It should be much more efficient, and hopefully it's going to fit. That is the cooling compound underneath. That is why there is a protective cover on there so it doesn't get damaged, because if it gets damaged it might not be quite as efficient. So we've got to be careful. Common sense really, I think. So I'll have to go and find some. So I'm just looking in the instructions, and one side is for Intel, the other side, this side, is for AMD, as it says there. So we obviously need the Intel, and it tells you whereabouts on the mounting point you need to put the lugs, and we need the middle one because we've got a socket 1155. So pretty hard to see on camera, I'd have thought, but basically there are 3 different holes here. We need the middle one, and the lugs which we're going to use are, well, all of these actually, I think, except for the screws, I think. We need to use the cream ones first of all, and then the black ones to actually attach the heatsink to the motherboard. Might be a bit complicated at first, but it should all come together. Right, so I've worked it out. Basically, you need to get the cream plugs, and you can see there is like a, it's tapered on one side and it needs to go in the middle hole. Make sure it is in the middle hole, and it goes like that. And just repeat the process with all 4, making sure they're all aligned properly. Yeah, the screws, I think, are all for the AMD ones. The AMD does seem a lot more complicated, so I'm glad it's an Intel. Should go there. I think they've all clicked, so you can see there. And then basically, I don't think this is probably when the screws are for it. I'm not sure. Yeah, they might be, but I'm still on step 4. So yeah, then you just basically press it down into the socket, and it needs to go this way round. Should work. There we go. So that is holding that in place. Next we need to get the heatsink, and be very careful because we need to then install the other lugs into those lugs. So they basically just press into there. So far so good. Right, so I did have to remove the fan. There again is the compound, untouched, and we need to just align these holes with these holes here. The Intel one is the second one in, I think. Let's just confirm that. Yes, the inside one is for Intel, the outside is for AMD. So this should just fit onto there, making sure it's aligned perfectly. And there we have it. Essentially what I've done is just put the 2 little screws in either side in the correct holes, and that has held the heatsink unit onto the frame underneath, and then obviously onto the motherboard as well. Finally, what we have to do is just reattach the fan, which just clips onto the front, and then plug it in. And there we have it. The fan is installed, the heatsink's installed, and it's plugged into the CPU fan socket just down there on the motherboard. So that should all work perfectly, hopefully. And now we need to do the graphics card. So let's open the box up first of all. I find that NVIDIA have very good boxes. They're always very high quality and not very frustrating, which is very good. So here we go. Very well padded. There it is. Wow, look at that. So let's get it out of the anti-static bag, and then we'll have a close-up look and we'll install it. Remove before gaming. Well, it looks pretty good. It says smart cooling, stay quiet. Fans not spinning, don't worry. Fans stop spinning in low load situations. This keeps the card quiet and increases lifetime. Wow, I've never actually known a graphics card to stop the fans when in use. That is really nice and efficient. So yeah, this should be very good. And yeah, the PSU was updated last year to a 750 watts, so that should be absolutely fine. So yeah, let's get this installed. Now I do have a concern, and that is the physical size of this thing. The fitting is exactly the same, but because it's a bigger card, the wiring is an issue, and I can sort of move out of the way, but I don't know, I'm going to have to go off camera here and just try and fit it, I think, off screen, hopefully, because this is going to be a challenge. So there we go, it is done. It was a bit of a challenge, but in the end it wasn't too bad, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Basically, the USB 3 cable, which is the blue one, was going, well, it's routed badly, basically. So I sent it back around the back and brought it around the front and put it around that side instead, which is much better. The primary concern is just to make sure that all the fans are clear, make sure no cables are going to go into them. They seem to be perfectly clear. It looks like a total mess, this, and it is, but it's an organised mess. None of these cables are going to interfere with it, so it's absolutely fine, and they're all safe as well. I've checked all that over, so hopefully you like it, and it should make some drastic improvements to the gaming videos. You shouldn't hear the CPU cooler anymore, that should be silent, because yeah, it was a distraction, I know. I did actually hear it as well. The graphics card should be much smoother, much better frames per second as well, and obviously the RAM, which for me has been a real letdown. Not this RAM, obviously, the ones I took out. The computer is very slow, especially on startup, so that should make a much better improvement, and yeah, it should just be able to work a lot quicker. So thank you for watching, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do remember to like, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.